Hey guys, welcome back. So this is going to be a video response to a viewer question. I got a comment on my video when I replaced my thermostat on my 2010 Merc. So the gentleman's name is Marauder Sr. and I'd like to thank him for leaving this comment and asking this question. So he says, thanks for the info, ordering a new thermostat. My Crown Vic has been running cold lately and takes forever to heat up. Gas mileage seems off as well. Are you going to do a PCV valve video? I have been doing replacements of all tune-up parts since I purchased my Crown Vic used, and I don't know the preventative maintenance history. And he's got a 2005 Crown Vic LX Sport with 96,000 miles. So that's a pretty good question. When I got my Merc last year in December, I was faced with a similar situation. I bought the car used. It's got 70,000 miles, and I had no idea what the preventative maintenance history is. So I flipped through the owner's manual looking for things to bring the maintenance up to date, and I was faced with the PCV valve, and so I went ahead and just replaced it anyways, just out of just pure boredom. You know, it was only a couple bucks. So on this 2005, I wasn't sure what the part number was, so I pulled up the owner's manual here, and this is for the 2005 Crown Vic, and this is on page 245, and it's got some interesting information on here. It's got all the part numbers for your consumable parts. And down here on PCV valve, there's no part number. It just has a footnote, and it forces you to read this little section here. So I'll try to read this as quickly as possible. The PCV valve is a critical emission component. It is one of the items listed in scheduled maintenance information and is essential to the life and performance of your vehicle and to its emission system. For PCV valve replacement, see your dealer or qualified service technician. Refer to scheduled maintenance and information for the appropriate intervals for changing the PCV valve. Replace the PCV valve with one that meets Ford material and design specifications for your vehicle, such as Motorcraft or equivalent replacement part. The customer warranty may be void for any damage to the emission system if such a PCV valve is not used. So that seems very long-winded for just a simple PCV valve, so maybe there's something more to this. So I pulled up the scheduled maintenance guide, and this is on page 37 for that same 2005 Vic, and over here for normal cars and minivans, it says on here, replace PCV valve at 100,000 miles except 4.6 liter 3 valve engines, and that's kind of interesting. So I'm pretty sure that 2005 Crown Vic has a 2-valve engine, so it just might be a good idea to replace the PCV valve at this time. So now that I know that it's probably a good idea to replace it on that 2005, I need to find a part number. So I went over to the Ford parts website and I typed in 2005 Ford Crown Victoria, and then I just typed in PCV valve, and it came back with this. And that looks like it's kind of like it, but it's got this connector on there. I've never seen that before. And so I've got a part number here, and the part number is EV273, and it says it fits 2005-2006 Crown Victoria 4.6, and look at that price. It says the MSRP is $65 and your price is $72, so that's a little interesting. So I was thinking back to the PCV valve that I put in my Merc a year ago, and I'm looking at it, and it's a different part number. This is a EV281, and then so I dug out my receipt from this is it here. I bought it in December of 18, so a year ago, and I only paid $13.81. So I'm thinking, you know, what's going on here? Is this even the right part? So I'm looking at mine out of my, this is the old one out of my 2010 Merc, and it's just a regular conventional valve. There's no electrical connector on it. And I'm looking at this, and it's got an electrical connector, and there's 2 pins in there. So I'm thinking, you know, maybe this is controlled by the PCM, or it's monitored by the PCM, or it's got some kind of operating strategy, and that's why it's so darn expensive. So I wasn't sure what to do next, so I called down to my local dealer and I talked to the parts guy, and he said, yeah, that's the correct valve for that car. We'll be glad to take your $72. And I said, well, no thank you. And then I said, thanks for your time. So I went over to the Amazon website, and I punched in that number, Motorcraft EV273, and they've got one for $35.94. And of course, if you're a Prime, you get that free 2-day shipping. You can't beat that. And look at that. There's another view of it with that that connector there. So $35, you know, that's a lot. You know, that's like 3 times what I paid for this conventional one, but that's a heck of a lot better than the $72 at the dealer. So I noticed on here it's got 39 ratings, and the rating is 4.5 star. And so I started flipping through these reviews, and I found this was a little interesting. And this was written by a guy named Michael in 2014, so about 5 years ago. And this review on here, it says, 2005 Mercury Grand Marquis was leaking oil, and PCV was super dirty, and the spring was shot, causing it not to open when needed. The dealer wanted $85 for this PCV simply because it's heated. So I saved $40 just by ordering it on Amazon, not to mention the free 2-day shipping. My oil leak subdued after replacing the PCV. Go figure, it was actually the PCV and not something bigger. So maybe the reason why this thing has that electrical connector is maybe there's a tiny little heating element in there that warms it up, so maybe it doesn't affect it in cold weather or something. I still don't know how this thing works. Maybe I need to look into that. So that's the story of this PCV for the 2005 Crown Vic, and I looked at some schematics online, and it looks very similar to the one in my 2010 Merc, and I'll give you a shot of what it looks like. Okay, so this is my 2010 Merc, and the PCV is located on the passenger side valve cover here, right next to the oil cap, and I'll give you a better shot of it. So this is it here. This is the vacuum line that goes to the throttle body, and it's got this little connector here. You need to pinch that off and squeeze it and pull this off. And the PCV valve is this brown looking thing, and you can see I don't have that connector that the other one has. So this one, you just pull this off and then you'll twist it off and put the new one in there. So Marauder Senior, don't forget to disconnect that little electrical connector before you pull it off. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.